What is going on, guys? Today we have a little bit of a different video to the channel, but an educational one. So as you can see here, we have my FG XR6 Turbo here behind me. So this video is going to apply to FG and FGX owners only that do want to run a drag pack on their car. So this is specifically for the Boyd Coddingtons with the wheel specs that I will go through in the video. They are 17-inch front and a 15/8 on the rear with a 255 PSR radial. So this will apply to standard suspension and running coilovers in the rear. Every single standard arm is still there. There is no Delta rear arm, but I do honestly recommend doing the Delta rear setup because that is a proper and safest way of doing this. This is more so on a budget, or if you're using it on a track car or drag build or anything like that, that is only going to be temporary and not on a street car, because you know the potholes in Sydney or anywhere else in Australia will probably not cope with the little bit of structural integrity that you will be taking out of the factory arms. So I'm going to show you guys how I went about fitting these wheels on the car. So I'm going to run the clip with the specs and exactly what I did so you guys can rock a mean looking drag pack. And what the hell do we have here, guys? We got a fat 255/60/15 Pro Street radial. We have the front runner here. This is a 165/70/17 Nankang SP90 Pro Street tyre. The 15-inch Boyd Coddingtons. They are 15/8 with a 5.5-inch backspace for the rear. We've got the front as well. They are a 17/4.5 with a 1.75-inch backspace. Now with the rear wheel off, I get to show you fellas with the FG and FGXs how to fit the 15-inch Boyd Coddington rears. Now this does not apply to every wheel. They are all different. They're manufactured differently. They all have lips inside them, offsets different, everything. So this is just for the Boyd specifically in the size that I stated in the video. But first things first, you do want to cut off this little tab here just at the top. Just make it flush in line with the top of the hub there. Then coming to the side, which do not recommend for a street car, you need to shave down this banjo bolt. So once I'm done racing this car, because it is not going back on the street until I race it, then after I'm going to replace it back with a factory Ford banjo bolt there, because you do have to shave it down a bit. But once you tackle those two out of the way, you will be able to sit the wheel on a fair amount, and you will notice that it will slightly rub on the edge of this lower control arm. Now just use a flappy disc and just take away bit by bit by bit. 1.5mm gap is fine on these. You don't want them too close, but you also don't need to go cutting excessively because the rim ain't going to hit. This is not a cornering car, it's a straight line car. I'm not trying to send this thing sideways with radials on it. It's just not going to happen. So trim that, and then you will notice on this arm here, you just may need to take out a little bit with a flappy disc there, just for clearance wise, and all that with a 6mm spacer. Now this makes it a bit better and kind of takes away cutting that more than you actually need to be quite honest. Once I do this side, we're going to drop it down. We're going to have a look. I'm not running too much negative camber as it is. It's actually pretty well closest to zero. As you can see there, we have clearance now. It doesn't look like heaps on this camera, it's hard to pick it up. Same for the banjo up there, there's definitely clearance there. The top, plenty of clearance, not hitting there now that that is being cut down. We're fine here on the shock mount, and as we trimmed there, that is all good now. Now you don't have to take a lot out of that, and it's probably best you just go bit by bit, don't just go off what I'm saying, and you know, kind of hope for the best and guess and cut too much more than you need to. So that's it now. I'm going to fix it up, double check everything. Then we're going to drop the car on the ground, have another peep under there and make sure nothing is hitting anywhere, because the suspension does obviously sit in different positions as it does travel up and down. So we're going to make sure clearance wise it is all good absolutely everywhere. If it is all good, then we can lift it up, take the wheels off and touch everything up with paint. But let's put it on the ground, let's check it out. Let's see if we have to change anything. So the more trimming I did is pretty much the edge of that there, and I did trim down the bolt just to give us a little bit more clearance. I still going to clean up a little bit more before I hit it with a lick of paint, but that's good there. And I did actually end up taking a nick out of that. Like, it's not much at all, but you want about 10 mil, maybe a little bit more clearance everywhere, just to be on the safe side of things. So that's all good now. I'm going to clean a few little things up, paint it, and we'll get it on the ground. So there we have it, guys. It is all fitted up and it all looks absolutely mint. The fronts fit perfect. They look great. There is nothing really there. It is lowered a little bit on coilovers on the front, but if you had a lowered spring, it would all be fine. There's plenty of room, tons of clearance there. But on the rear with the 255 radial, you know, you're poking a little bit. So you do actually have to add a little bit of ride height into it. You can have it sacked, but you know, these things are going to squat and they're gonna have little issues with rubbing the guards. Now, I haven't had any sort of scrubbing at all, and I've raced this thing 3 times now since, and it has been absolutely perfect. I've checked over all the suspension. It is all nice and still in the same condition as it was when I did a little bit of butchering. So it works. I haven't had any issues with rubbing, cracking, anything like that. It looks great. It drives even better with the 255 60s on it. And yeah, like, it just looks absolutely insane. You guys will probably see this video and be like, yep, I'm doing that 100%, because it looks great, but it also does make the car work much better at the drag strip. So that was how I went about fitting a 255 radial on the back of this. So I could have probably went with a 275 as well, but you would have had more of a chance of rubbing. But if you do want to fit the 275 on there, make it look meatier, the proper way to do it would be either going a BABF rear end, that'll bring it 20 mil more in, then you'll have a lot more clearance in that sense, or using the whole Delta adjustable rear end, which obviously I do recommend doing over this because that is a safer, smarter option. And honestly, like I said, safety is a #1 key. So if you guys are only doing it temporarily or whatever, perfectly fine, whatever, plenty of people have done it. And yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend it for a street car, but I'm not your parents. I can't tell you what to do. So that's how I went about fitting these wheels, guys. If you want to see more educational videos and something a little bit different from me, like this video here, let me know down in the comments section. I may be inclined to doing it a little bit more, but this is it, guys. So thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, put the post notifications on so you do not miss out on the next episode, future episodes, or possible future how-to videos like this one. As always, we will catch you in the next one.